What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Week 11 closer report. Let's just jump right into the content, because why not? We're going to start off with two teams that really should be in the clear leader category here. Toronto, Jordan Romano has been really good lately. He kind of struggled earlier in the season, but he's looked really good. He did have this issue this last week, though, with this forearm tightness, which is never good. However, from that, he has come back and he has pitched 2 innings. So maybe he got lucky and avoided a bigger injury. But so far, Romano has been the clear guy. He is pitching in back-to-backs now. So next week, I'll probably put him on a separate list for clear leaders. Another clear leader for me is obviously Emmanuel. I think that Karinchak is just as good, obviously, but especially, I mean, look at the K numbers there. But it's so clear now at this point that Cleveland is going to Clace in the ninth when he's available. And when he's not, it's great. You can just throw Karinchak in there if you need to. But Karinchak is clearly taking the eighth, and Clace is taking the ninth, which is odd because in most fantasy leagues, Karinchak is owned more than Clace is. So Clace is out there, guys, so think about adding him, honestly. Let's get into actual true battles now, or the committees, and just kind of see what's going on here. Rogers and McGee have been, honestly, like, it's been like a back and forth. It's basically a true committee at this point. Initially, it was McGee. Then they're like, well, we want to get Rogers in here. And then it seemed like it was all Rogers. And now over this last week, they both had a save, both clean. So they're not really separating each other. Both viable starts in fantasy at this point, which it sucks for fantasy owners because, man, imagine San Francisco and having a full-time closer, what you could get out of that. But for now, this is what we got. These are probably fill-in guys for fantasy. We'll see what happens over the next week here. Seattle is weird. Okay, Graveman is back. He's finally come back from the DL. He's looked really good. His last 2 outings here, though, he did give up a run in each of them, which he hadn't really done yet up to this point. You can see the ERA there. Montero did get the save opportunity, and despite Graveman being back, and proceeded to not pitch well. He blew the save. He has not looked great, and yet he does continue to get the opportunity. I fully suspect that Graveman is going to take this job at some point, and he's just going to run with it. Montero, hopefully, can he continue to be in the mix for his own sake. Maybe the eighth, maybe the he just needs to stay in the mix. But I think Graveman is going to take this, and it's probably going to come sooner than later. The only problem here really is Seattle doesn't get that many opportunities, so we'll see what happens. Arizona, Soriak actually got the last opportunity, but he actually blew that one as well. It was not a great one. He had gave up 3 earned on that one. Christian also didn't look very good. Arizona, man, it's not good right now. They've lost almost a record-setting amount of home games or away games. Sorry, and it's just the opportunities are too far and few between. Even for like fantasy purposes, I'd rather start one of these guys in a committee than either of these guys, despite the fact that I think Christian is going to be kind of forward thinking the closer. Like, who cares if Arizona can't win ball games, which they will eventually. But if they can't win ball games, then what's the point in having them? I'd rather have a Karinchak in this case. Moving on to Detroit, Michael Fulmer comes off the DL. I fully expect him to just take the job back, which he already appears to have done. He already got a save, which is great. Detroit's actually playing a bit better now, which is nice. They're playing some closer games. Soto did fill in a little bit. There's another couple fill-in guys, but Fulmer to me is the guy moving forward. And if you're desperate for the saves, Fulmer might be your guy here. Kansas City is a bit of a mess as well. They insist on going back to Greg Holland. In fact, they did it again last night, and he blew the save. I think that was another one of these 3 earned, kind of ugly looking opportunities. Stallmount, he wasn't much better same night. He also gave up an earned run and he didn't look very good. But he has looked better over the course of time, at least in my opinion. You can see the stats right there. They're actually pretty similar. So it seems to me that they try to stick with Holland, and to me, it really should go to Stallmont. I think that he's kind of the future, and you need to go that way. But let's continue moving on. Minnesota, another. This one's interesting because it's like a true committee. I think I got a couple back to back here that they're just straight up committees. Every other night they go, or if you got the save this time, I'm going to give you the save the next time. They both have basically the exact same stats in almost every way, shape, and form. So it's it's very interesting. It's good and bad for fantasy because if you really want to have like the drop dead closer, you're not going to get it here. But if you're desperate for saves or desperate for a guy, both of these guys are good options. Problem again is Minnesota has been brutal, absolutely brutal this year. I don't think that that's going to continue. I think Minnesota at some point is going to start playing better baseball, and I think that these guys will get some more opportunities, but we'll see. And okay, this one was weird too because we were told that Dykman was going to start getting more opportunities in the ninth. And since then, Trevino has been getting all the opportunities, and he's done well with them. He had 2 more saves this last week, and he's done well. So I don't have any reason to think that Dykman is going to get the ninth. He's clearly coming in the eighth, and Trevino's clearly coming in the ninth. So it's a good problem to have for Oakland. Oakland's looking really sharp right now, and Trevino's the guy. Tampa Bay, we just got done talking about Minnesota. This is basically the exact same situation. Whoever's available is going to get the save opportunity. Castillo and Fairbanks basically alternate every other night or every save opportunity, I should say. They are straight up alternating, and they both honestly have looked good. Castillo has given up a few more runs since coming back, and Fairbanks has looked untouchable. But I don't think Castillo has really done anything necessarily to warrant completely losing his job or anything like that. And then they also have Fire Eyes in there at the bottom who fills in if both of them maybe aren't available, which is honestly a really good a problem to have. And I think that stuff like this is why Tampa Bay is actually able to be a good team that wins ball games, is because of situations like this. The bullpen, it doesn't really matter who you have. They're just going to go out there and do their thing. I'd say that both of them are startable potentially in fantasy, or at least fill inable with confidence. And you could kind of predict who's going to get the start. Like Fairbanks, I think is going to get the next one because Castillo pitched last night. So I mean that's how it works there. You just got to kind of pay attention. Baltimore is a bit of a mess, but they're starting to figure it out a little bit. The problem here in Baltimore for fantasy and for us is they just don't get opportunities. Paul Fry has looked amazing, and Cole Sulser at the bottom you see has also looked really good. The one who really has not looked good is Valdez, but there's no opportunity to kind of go off of and say, oh, this guy's the closer. I think Paul Fry is the guy that they're going to go to in the ninth. I think that honestly, second is probably Sulser. I probably need to flip these. Valdez again. I wasn't last night, but a few days ago, gave up another 3 earned, and it just did not look good. Just poor outing after poor outing. He fills in with good outings, but Paul Fry hasn't had a blow up. Sulser hasn't had a blow up. The problem here is opportunity, guys. So I think that's actually the last team, and it's not, of course. This is the last one. Okay, so Cincinnati, Lucas Sims, I think, is almost at this point a clear leader. I think we were pulling for Lucas Sims this whole time. Not pulling for because we're rooting for him, but it just seemed like that was who they were going to. Amir Garrett did get a save the other day because Heath Hembree came in and he almost got the save, but couldn't quite finish it out, and Garrett came in. It was a very dicey situation. I don't think they want Garrett anywhere near that kind of closer situation again if they could help it, but they couldn't. And so Lucas Sims probably should have went another inning because he does that from time to time. He does 2 inning saves. But clearly, at this point, Lucas Sims is the guy that's going to get the ball in the ninth or the highest leverage possible for Cincinnati. So he might actually be a guy to pick up because he had 2 saves over this last, or he had a win and then he had a save the last 2-3 days here. So he might be a guy worth picking up, especially in those deeper leagues where you're struggling for closers. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. We'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed.